Hey, Decathlon Gamer, welcome back to PCM23 Lions, episode 116. We're at the Giro, and the quick sim machine continues. We're pushing right on through. Now, we were supposed to be done with the Giro already at this point. The last stage that I had targeted that was a potential win for us is behind us. But thanks to a strong performance from Samuels, where we nearly got the win, except a couple of breakaway riders ahead of us, Samuels has moved into the top 10. He's 8th with a handful of stages to go. And very strong race day condition and really good for the team. We have a plus 26 or something like that for the net expected. That could lead to a pretty strong result. But looking at a stage like this one, we didn't bring our best climbers here. We have Samuels. It drops off after that real fast. So the quick sim is going to get me a very similar result, most likely, to what I would do anyway. Samuels gets 9th on the stage, just 8 seconds down. That's fantastic. Well, that's a huge win right there. Actually moves him up a spot to 7th now as Piganzoli loses 5 spots down to 9th. Brambilla out of the race lead down to 4th. Dang. Support guys are gone though. Carlos de Villiers dropping 16 places to 48th. 17 was another sprint stage with a win for Philipsen. Philipsen should be comfortably ahead now. 130 points in the points classification. I think that jersey is all but wrapped up now. Samuel's down to a +3 on his expected. De Villiers is no longer ill, so he's recovered. Fatigue is starting to... freshness is starting to kick in. The fitness is dropping off. Even Samuels is below that 90% now, but still very good team expectations. Can Samuels do it again here on 18? He has not. He has definitely lost time, but we're talking about half a minute. 44 seconds. 44 seconds for Samuels. Grand scheme of things, that's not much. Brambilla loses 2:47. That keeps us in position. Godu has jumped us. Paulus has fallen to 9th, so we gain and lose a position on this one. 5.5 down overall. Danny Martinez leads from Aragave. The Colombian duo on top with Carlos Rodriguez in 3rd. Well ahead. Podium looks well set at this point. The fight for us is to maybe scrap our way into the top 5 before the time trial, where we would then lose that. And ultimately, we want to just try to hang on to a top 10, right? And Samuels, can he keep that 7th? 38 seconds down. Pretty solid showing from him with Martinez winning the stage and continuing to expand his lead now over a minute ahead of Aragave. Rodriguez still at the minute 36. Same thing there, same story. And as things stretch here, we've moved up. Brambilla has lost time again. He initially fell from the lead to 4th, has held on to 4th for a little bit, and now drops to 9th. The big mountains are not his friend, though they really are. He's a much stronger climber than we are, but maybe he, like we said, was in strong form at the beginning and has now fallen off, that fatigue kicking in. It's stage 20 of 21, and 21, well, it's a flat stage. It's a sprint stage, so it's not going to hurt us at all. It's only 18 kilometers today, but it's got a monster 7K climb at the end. That being said, picking the effort is going to be rather challenging. The monster climb, let's start with that. It is 7.3 kilometers in length, 12% average over the course of it, but it maxes at 22.9. You can see it's very, very hard, very red, eases off, but then it gets hard again before the end. And you see pushing at a 74 is saving us a lot of energy. And Kareem's a good time trialist and not a good climber, so for him it makes sense to kind of push early and then just survive. He's making good time through this first sector, and then he's going to be really poor in the last sector no matter what he does. This at least gives him a solid head start. But once we get outside of Kareem, I'm going to start focusing on preparing for Samuels. It's all about Samuels today. We're not winning here. Like, no one is going to, from our team, is going to compete. We want a good result for Samuels to help his GC position. So after Kareem, we'll see what we can do. I mean, we've overtaken 3 guys on the road. Clearly, others are opting to go a lot softer than a 74. However, even at a 74, we've barely expended any energy. An 82 and a 76 with about a 50-50 split in terms of prolonged time trial means Kareem's fastest 15 minutes to get there, 46 minutes to get to the finish. Now my goal is to see how long an 85 will go. So what was that? 76, 82. It's like a 50-50 split between those. So a 79 time trial, which is why he put in such a phenomenal time, even though he's not putting in high effort. But it's clear that we could do even less of an effort. But what are his times like? I mean, he is a minute ahead of everybody else. 3 minutes ahead just down there. And that's a big gap, 3 minutes just to there. But he's going to lose so much more than that climbing. You can see, though, that 85, it's lasted a good long while, but you can't do that 85 for the whole thing. At least not with how hard he went early on. So we're going to back off to an 80 and see how that does now on the expenditure of energy. Still climbing faster than Schuster here. We're literally passing like our fourth guy. And he's a good time trialist, bad climber. So Kareem is still outdoing him. That's nice, but there's still a good 4K to go. But this has been, the hardest part. We're at 20% right now. And he's still first at the second time check by more than a minute now, even while being a terrible climber. But you can see just how low his energy is. 85 is not going to happen. I was hoping to be able to go easy in that first 11K and then have enough in the tank to be able to push an 85 on the climb. The climb is just too freaking hard. It is way too hard. Kareem's going to go well back as time goes on here. Lotterin's already on the road, and I don't know what kind of energy he's expending. So we're going to try a 70 now and see what that does. He's a bad time trialist, better climber, but not good at either. Getting into that last portion of the climb, he's out of energy, so 99 from here. Now they're going to start coming back at him. Schuster goes by, but remember, Schuster was like 4 guys ahead of him. Down to 4th, though, and 54 seconds, so he is starting to lose time. Final portion of the climb, 2 guys have overtaken him, but not 4, and not additional guys, and he's quite bad at this. 8th, 222 down. Imagine if we had something left in the tank for the end. So Lottering 70, and clearly a lot more left in the tank than what Kareem had at the base of the climb, but 2.5 minutes down. What's his climb going to be like? Kareem finished 2.5 minutes down, but he started ahead. So that initial time trial, we've got to try different things. We can't just do the same thing. So we're going to go a little gentler with a 67. Better all around than these guys. I want to try that 70. We just went too hard at the base of the climb. So I think that 74 made really good time on the flat. Really good time. It gave him such an advantage. He just went a little too hard. On that 67, Hampton trying a little bit harder, something like Kareem, but just changing it up a little bit in terms of the climb. Yes, Kareem had, a 79 time trial rating, so that made sense for him to go fast early. But what about when it's balanced, right? Well, what about when they're balanced? Can we still put in a similar? Second glide, 336 down, so he loses 1 minute through here. But still has that something left, and we have to really test that 77. How does that 77 do? It was a 70 and a 77 for him. Mansour is climbing. We're already seeing that 77 looks like it's going to make it. So, Mansour, can you push harder? A 79. Habtum is climbing. Go that little bit harder earlier and still have something left. Lottery, 2K to go. He's in that flat section. He is getting caught here, but he's got more left for this final kilometer. That 77 has not drained him. 24th, 258. 239 at the base. The climb itself, that 77 just about did it. And he's not a climber, so in terms of matching the best time, Kareem's second split is still a minute better than anybody else's. It's just that third one where we really had to back off for him. And it's just finding that balance. Mansour at a 79 was 238 down, so there's that 2.5. A little bit further with the minute and a half. Is he a weaker climber? That 77 is not going too hard, though. I think Mansour could push like an 85 the rest of the way now. Habtum, though, the 74 has not gone terribly well. These other guys with the 70-72 look at a little bit better on that part. Where Kareem, it was just because he's such a good time trialist. Okay, De Villiers sets off, and he's a weaker time trialist, stronger climber. Let's try the 70 again and see if we can't pinpoint that. Oh, Musa's ready to set off. Hill's rating's great. Terrible time trialist. We'll try a 71 for him. Both minus... Whoa, what's with the race day condition? Where the heck is our... Habtum? Final push. There is a last little hill climb, but 10th, 45 seconds down. Habtum was second at that first time check. Careless already about to set off. He's got a nice race day condition, unlike the others. The 74 was just a hair too hard, I think, but a 72 or a 73 feels like a really good tempo early on, especially if you're okay on your time trial. Clerk goes fastest by a minute 20 over Tusveld. Really starts to push that time to a new level. Habtum is still 14th, though. Kareem's still 36th. I mean, he's only 4:22 down. Samuels, 32 riders till he goes. We got some time to sort this out. And we go to climb. I think before you hit the climb, like after that first time check, you got to start ramping up the speed. Because it's hard to get the speed once you are climbing. Okay, we've already seen the 77 was very manageable. Let's try a 79 for De Villiers. Musa coming up on the same place. Stronger climber he is. Can we do an 80? Carlos has lots of energy, and he's got to have a good time here. Second! Behind Kareem, probably. De Villiers was 2:14 down at the first time check. Kareem is still top. Carlos is second. Habtum is third. We are clearly going harder than others. Even Filippo Ganna was 31 seconds behind us. Stefan Kung, they are definitely leaving more in the tank than we were, but I think it's an opportunity because Kareem was still there. And then it starts to change, right? Going through 2:43, only losing half a minute through the hardest climb, and still having okay energy left, but not great. What about Musa? Musa is at 2:42 down at the first check. Terrible time trialist. But the climb, 80 is going too hard for him. 3:01 down though, only losing 20 seconds. Backing off to a 75. So 80 is definitely too hard. Careless still has something left here, and I think he's going to be in a strong position right now, but we've got to back off to about a 79. He's on top by nearly a minute on Kareem, minute 16 on others. Checking in on on others. De Villiers is cresting now. This is where you can kind of afford to back off. This is where I think it's that first climb that is so pivotal. Once it eases off and you start to pick up some pace, then you can ease out of it and go slower. So down to a 70 for him. Yellow bar's gone. Musa's got a little bit left. Store de plus. I mean, we're talking top guys here. 77 Mountain, 75. He's cresting, but he's gone a little too deep. Samuel's 10 more riders. So that low 80s is not quite happening. It's got to be, yeah. De Villiers is over the top, but he is going so slow now. So slow, losing a ton of time there. He loses well over a minute on that last one. But 63rd. Musa had something left till just now. He's on that last climb. Pushing. Careless is on that last climb, and look how he's caught up to him. We're talking 43rd versus 48th. There's 5 riders in between them. So Careless has done really well, but he too did run out of energy just before the end. Musa, 77th, 6 minutes down, our slowest guy. So yeah, pushing a little too hard on that climb. But Careless, second place. 3 seconds off the top. 3 seconds off of Clark. And that's with a 77 Mountain. 75 time trial. There's 80 guys here that have better ratings than that. Better than his +5. Or +4, whatever it was. That looks like a +5. We're supposed to have like 4 guys with a +4 or better. So to only get one of them. Here we go, Samuels. It's a good race day condition. Okay, we already discovered 74 is a little hard. 72 sounds like a good rating. +5, yes. It's only a +1 draw, but it's a +5. 82 mountain today, 67 time trial, 71 prologue. So he's got a 69 average for the time trial portion, and at a 72, he'll put in a much better pace than what a lot of the others did. He's going to gain a minute or two here, and then have plenty in the tank for a good solid climb. It's just going to be managing it. We've already learned that the 82 was definitely too hard. The 81 was iffy. I think he might be able to get by on about a 79 or an 80 all the way to the top. That's the one we're chasing. He's at 7:11, or he's the one chasing us. We have a minute 58-second advantage over him and look to be overtaking him. It's Godou behind us that we are chasing. But Samuels goes through the first time check, 18th, minute 13 down, looking really strong for that part. So like we said, we're going to try a 79 for Samuels. Very, very solid time on that first time check. Kareem Careless Haptim still top, but none of the contenders. Careless still top at the second check. I'm thinking Samuels could be there, but that's... Oh, we passed Pellizzari. He's now catching up to us. He's climbing a little harder and faster than we are, but we had such an advantage that he's barely gaining on us. We're 1 second closer than we were. We went from a minute 13 down to a minute 12 down, even though Pellizzari's passing us, right? That put us into the top 10, but we just saw somebody near the top. Carlos Rodriguez is 5th. So now we're going over that main part of the climb. We are definitely going on the deep side, but this is where you can start to back off a little bit. That means we lose a few more seconds, but Samuels is a terrible time trialist. So if he can get a good, solid time and only lose a little bit of ground here, that would just put us in such a strong position. But this is where we've got to back off to help him get through that final climb. So we're going to try a 74 here, as he's very much down to the last little bit of it. 14th, minute 28. That is still a really good time for such a bad time trialist. Godou is 8th, though, so staying ahead of him is going to be difficult. Samuels gets over the top of that final climb with something in the tank. He's going to lose it to the finish line, but that's a good result. Samuels, we saw during the Tour de France, lost like 12, 14 minutes there. He lost 2:07 here. Yes, it's a mountain time trial, but we pushed a little harder on the flat, only lost a minute 13, which meant we had to ease off just a little more on the climb, but all he lost was less than 1 minute on the climb. And because of that, right, we weren't chasing. He wasn't going to catch very well. An 82 mountain does not get very far here. An 82 mountain is nothing compared to what those guys have. A lot of them have 82 base. +4, 86, plus race day condition. Could easily be 90, an 88, right? It's much higher than what we have. So I think that was perfectly played, especially with the time he could have lost on the fly. He didn't expend much energy, and that was the thing. He rode pretty easy. Denny Martinez takes the overall from Carlos Rodriguez. Agave takes 3rd. Godou gets 4th. Samuels stays 6th. I think that's a great result. He really could have lost a lot of time today. Really could have lost a lot of time. As we've seen before, he literally kept his position with a 60 time trial base. That's phenomenal. Piccanzoli has won the KOM. Philipsen has won the points. He will win the points. 1 stage to go, and it is a sprint stage, but it will not impact that. Venegas actually takes the under 25. Samuels is 2nd. Brambilla falls to 3rd. He was so far ahead. I thought Brambilla had that thing wrapped up, but we got him by more than a minute at the end. But Esteban Venegas has claimed that one. Not even sure who that is, but he's with the Geico team. As a team, we were 10th. 10th place as a team. Carlos did end up getting 11th in the end with, what did he have? A 79 mountain and about a 76 time trial? Something like that? Yeah, I think we set that up pretty dang well. I really think we got the most out of that time trial, and I think we got more out of that time trial than the time trialists did than the AI did. Arnsman won the stage from Picanzoli, Rodriguez, Martinez. Yeah, Brambilla. Dang, no wonder he moved back up. We so easily could have been behind Brambilla, behind Godu. Well, we were behind Godu, weren't we? Yeah, he was one spot ahead of us to begin with. That was a very good result. And Arnsman, who won the stage, loses by a half minute to us. Pellizzari was a minute behind in the end. Brambilla had a really good time there and ended up just over a minute behind. Add 3 minutes to that, 11 minutes down. He's 10th. Barely hanging on to a top 10. After that, we probably would have been wiping our brow going, whew, that was a close call. Oh man, Samuels just squeaked that one out. That's reality. Because he's that bad. He is that bad as a time trialist. So him keeping 6th, great. 1st of June, so I have 3 more windows and 18 more points, more dossier points coming. I'm going to have to get after all of the new signings because it's taken me this long, 1st of June, to get through the entirety of our team, minus Roteasir and minus the 3 guys that all turned out to be busts. So they're not a big deal. Roteasir, 8 points, and in the red, it's just we don't have the 8 points to spend. I mean, that's going to take me to the 1st of July before we would be able to even do anything there, and at best we would get him into yellow. But as for everybody else, Careless is the latest one that I've just put in before we confirm this, so we don't know about him yet, but at 76% it's almost assured that he'll get there. The only one I'm worried about is Mohira. Mohira's at just 67, but I believe this was his first window, so he's gained 15. He's got 3 more windows? 45? That would do it. He needs 33 more. So if my calculation is correct, he'll get to green. The other 2 are definitely getting to green, so we should get all 7 of these guys into the green. Mohira's already bumped from 6 points to 9 points, even though we just added him last session. So Careless is the only addition I have at this point because I only had 3 additional points. So hopefully no changes there so that we can actually spend those 18 points on picking out targets. Now, some of the targets aren't going to cost us in terms because they're already going to have the 100% interest, so we wouldn't have to do anything. But it does mean we might have to pick and choose a little bit as we go. I want to re-sign all 7 of these guys, and all 7 of these guys are using 42 points just for them, leaving me with not much else. So I might have yet another hard decision to make beyond just letting Roteasir go. Could happen. We'll see what occurs with that one. I know shorter episode today, but that Giro, man, that was an exciting ending. Go ahead and confirm those, and we'll see what happens in 3 more windows and how many guys I can get on. But I should be able to, get roughly 5 to 6 of my targets. I do have quite a few dossier targets. Eventually, once we get a chance to. It's been the most in the last few seasons. I have 12 potential targets. Now, realistically, we're going to only end up getting a look at half of those, so I'll already have to make some decisions, and I'll make that by mid-June for that next window. The inevitable has happened. We've dropped off the top of the rankings. It always happens by the time you get through the Grand Tours. But the Tour de France, we're going to see if we can't get that top 5 or better. We still got decent points out of that race. National being after claiming victory, I think. Yes. Yeah, Danny Martinez just moved to 2nd from 13th in the rankings. Big jump for him. Philipsen also up 4 spots. Pogacar up to the top of the rankings. Things, of course, will change again after the Tour. But with that big boost, and, I mean, what did he get? He got almost 2,000 points for the Giro. 2,000. One rider. Does drop us to 2nd. We're only just ahead of BMB, but we have a healthy gap still to Jumbo-Visma, who for the first time are not at the top of the standings this year and have a weaker team. This is the weakest they've been in the entire series. We already looked through the teams earlier in the year to see that and recognize that, but we are very comfortably still the top Continental Pro team. We're not going to get caught by Total Energies or Placo Smith or Bahrain Victorious. We could, get caught by, one of those teams in that 4th to 7th or 8th range if they go on and win one of the Grand Tours. Right, we could find ourselves behind 3 teams that have all won a Grand Tour plus BMB because they're just that good and that close behind us ranking wise. So if 2 different teams go on to win the other 2 Grand Tours and BMB continues to have a good season and not be one of those teams, I could see us finishing 5th. And at this point, I don't see us finishing worse than 5th this season. I don't see that scenario playing out either. If I were to predict, I'm guessing we'll drop to 4th by the end of the season, which is a great year. It's a really, really good year if we can keep that one going. As for my team, Sammy Arab, not at the Giro, falls down a little bit. He's 17th. Samuel's back into the top 20 in 19th. Shimway falling down a little bit further, and he's about to lose a lot of points because nearly half of his points came from Tour de France. I think all 3 will be there. De Villiers does not move up, so that's a weak side. Musa moved up a bit. He picked up some points, it looks like, from the Giro, 60. Bit of a boost. As a Tunisian, is that enough to give them a training boost? Probably not. Musa, next year, I think, will be a target year for him to try to bring Tunisia up. But Sami Arab in the top 20 for Morocco, that's a training point waiting to happen right there. That feels like it's got to be on the verge of a guarantee if he keeps a top 20 spot by the end of the season, especially if he gets a top 10 in the Tour. That's going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.